What's good, people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to 12th Man. Yes, we are talking Arsenal transfers. We are going to do an Arsenal talk show. It means that Arsenal are linked with players. What does it mean? Well, it means the January transfer window is open. Big up to everybody that's here already. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and make sure that you check out this new opportunity from our sponsors, Reality Raffles. There is yet another chance for you to get to the Emirates or a football stadium of your choice by going into the raffle. 99p. Come on, don't be stingy, people. You can use the code FTM10 to get 10% off of that as well. So that is an absolute no-brainer. And you have a chance of a match day experience of up to £500. There's also instant win opportunities as well. So if you want some money to go and spend on football, then please make sure that you are in it to win it. Reality Raffles. And do me a favor, let me know if you win. I want to know who wins. I want one of our viewers to be the guy or girl that selects a ticket that can come out and, I don't know, go to the Emirates, maybe go to the Etihad if you're a Man City fan, or Old Trafford, or if you really go and watch Liverpool, then Anfield, who are flying at the moment. But of course, there's a lot of gooners on this channel. So please make sure that you are in it to win it. The link is in the description, or of course, it is pinned in the comments right now. All you've got to do is click on it and you'll have an opportunity to go into the prize draw. So please make sure that you are doing so. Listen, big up to every single one of you that is here live. We've got Alf in the chat. We've got Lord Ferguson Aberdeen. We've got Zway. Am I getting that right? Let me know if not. I hate getting people's names wrong. Gooner Legend. We've got Cope. We've got Scott. We've got Sean. We've got AJ. Who else is in the chat? We have got I love this. What's a name? The Slipstick Penguin. What a fantastic name. Wilson in the house. Big up to you. We've got the Assembled. We've got Kevin in the house. We've got Views. Big up to my bro Views. We've got Jimbo Jumbo. We've got Shahan. Listen, big up to every single one of you, man. Hit the like button on your way in. Make sure you hit subscribe. We're so close to 30K, people. So close to 30K. So please hit the subscribe button. Once you've hit subscribe and like, it means you're locked in for what is going to be the start of a chat on Arsenal. And we are going to bring back the transfer news show starting tomorrow morning, people. So every morning, Monday to Friday, around about 9 o'clock, I will be live talking about all of the transfer news and stories, not just for Arsenal, but across the Premier League. So let's talk about it. There's a lot of Arsenal rumours today. There's been some flying around. You can definitely tell that Christmas is over and January window is open. There's been a lot of rumours and suggestions that Arsenal are looking at some players. And there's also been rumours that we may be losing some players. A lot of people are suggesting that there'll be a couple of players that Arsenal will lose out or that will be sold. I don't think we've got anything to worry about too much in respect of who may be leaving, but we are going to concentrate on that as well and just go through the rumours and see if we believe it to be true or false. Look, I do believe there are reliable sources more than any. I think Fabrizio Romano and David Ornstein are normally the ones to go to if you want some reliable sources, but we do like to respect every source and talk about it and believe if we and see if we believe that it is actually a rumor to be believed in or to take seriously. So big up to everybody that's locked in and let's go through it. Look, we're going to start with the title of this video. It is Marmoush, and I am, for one, a huge fan of his. I think he is a very, very good player for Arsenal to be linked with. There's a great opportunity for Arsenal to be looking at Marmoush. He is a player that's on fire. He is someone that has got really good numbers. If you look at the stats, he's got I think it's 13 goals in 15 games, 7 assists. That's 20 goals and assists in just 15 games. That's absolutely superb. We're looking at that as a potential for Arsenal in the front line. And I think he can actually play not just through the centre, on the left. And I think there's rumours that he can go wide right as well. So I think across the front three is definitely a potential for us to be excited about this one. Now, it says that Arsenal are leading the race to sign the Frankfurt striker, Omar Marmoush. He's a mid-interest from Liverpool, PSG and AC Milan as well. And I think if I'm honest with you, out of those three clubs, I think he would actually be interested in Liverpool and Arsenal ahead of PSG and AC Milan. Now, of course, with PSG, it all depends how much they're going to pay him because they've got money. And they're not shy about admitting that they've got money. And they're not shy about offering players money to go and join their club. So, of course, PSG could be of interest with money. AC Milan are absolute European giants and have been for quite some time, albeit not quite the club they used to be. Of course, it's still going to be an upgrade, you would think anyway, on Frankfurt. But Liverpool and Arsenal are the two clubs that are favourites ahead of the others because I believe that Marmoush has his heart set on the Premier League. Now, a lot of people would suggest then, if Liverpool are interested, then it's going to be them that get him. Why? Well, because he's obviously teammates in Egypt with Mo Salah. I don't know if that means anything. I don't know if that genuinely does anymore. I think it used to quite a few seasons ago when you would go to a club because your sort of fellow countrymen played for them. You know, and with Brazil at the moment, we had that link, didn't we? We had like David Luiz and Willian, and we had Jorginho, obviously is Italian, but has Brazilian links. Gabriel Jesus, Gabriel Martinelli, Gabriel Magalhaes. And it's like they're all coming to us because they're Brazilian. When actually, I think they were coming to us because they genuinely believed that we had a good chance of challenging for the league. And I think that Marmoush is probably no different. Now, don't get me wrong, if Liverpool are genuinely after somebody like that, then there's absolutely no reason why they wouldn't be interested in Marmoush or have the interest of Marmoush to join them. I think that when you look at what Marmoush can bring, it's goals, it's creativity, and it's versatility. And I think that although Liverpool are probably in a similar position for us in needing a 9, because of Jota's injuries, I actually think they're pretty stacked when it comes to players in those positions. Salah, absolutely killing it. Diaz found his form this season. Gakpo, in my opinion, has been phenomenal this season when called upon. And we've obviously not even talked about Jota or Nunes in that debate. Darwin Nunes, I don't think has a future at Liverpool, if I'm honest with you. I think that will be the player, but it'll probably be the summer that they get rid or look to get rid. I think Diogo Jota has proven that he's an absolute killer in the box, but his injuries just absolutely kill him. And I think Arsenal are in that position with Jesus too, if I'm honest with you. I don't think he's nowhere near as clinical, but I do think the injuries like Jota, it's cost them. And I think it's actually a struggle for Gabriel Jesus. Now, he's definitely looked better in the last few games, but we need a striker and we need an attacker and a forward. And I think, if I'm honest, I think we need more than Marmoush. I think Marmoush and a striker would be fantastic. I really do. Excuse me, because it's a position that I think Arsenal have been needing for quite some time. And a lot of people are suggesting that the left-sided forward is a problem for us. And it's something that we need to look at. Now, Marmoush would bring that because he can obviously score and play down the middle, but he can also play wide left. So I think it would make sense. I'm looking at the price of him, and I think it's pretty realistic. When we look at what he would be worth on transfer market, I don't think it's a phenomenal amount. I'm just going to check that now. I don't think that he is worth a value of something absolutely mad. Excuse me. So I think it would be a realistic signing. If we were looking at an Isak or somebody like that, you might think, yeah, that's not going to happen. He's 60 million euros on transfer market. Now, I know that is not always what they go for. It's just an average, an estimate, and a guesstimate really at what they are worth. But I actually think that we could probably get him for a fairly reasonable price. And I know that Kid from in the hood is saying that it's £100 million that they want. I'm not hearing that. I'm not hearing that it is as much as that. No sources have said to me that it's going to be £100 million for him. But listen, everybody wants £100 million now, don't they? Since Declan Rice and Caicedo and Enzo have all gone for over £100 million, it looks now like everybody's worth that. Whether your name's Jude Bellingham or whether your name's Evan Ferguson, you're £100 million. It's mad. It's absolutely crazy. Now, look, I personally do believe that he's a player that's on fire and that Frankfurt shouldn't be selling him for 25 million. But I do think that if we're putting in 50 to 60 million, that probably will be enough to tempt him. And if it isn't enough, then maybe we need to look at Victor Osimhen or Victor Gyökeres in terms of their release clause, because they've actually got that I think would get them to. If it is a wide forward, then I think Ademola Lookman and potentially one of the Premier League players, and Mbeumo or Cunha would probably be around that. Semenyo is another one. So I think if we're to be told that Marmoush is 100 million, I think we might move to a different target, because that just to me means that he's not available. And Marmoush as well will have to look at that opportunity and say, look, why are you telling them it's 100 million? I want to go. Like, let's do something here. Like, don't be silly. Let me go. So I think that it all depends on where Marmoush has got his heart set on. We are told that it's the Premier League that he's got his heart set on. He wants to go to a Premier League club, and it looks like Liverpool and Arsenal are the favourites at the moment. But Arsenal are being told that they are leading the race for him. So I do think it's potential that we have a chance of getting him. Now, Mark is saying that there's some reliable sources tonight that Marmoush is off to Manchester City. Please do send that into the chat. Please do let us know where that rumor is, because it's forever changing, Mark. Forever changing at the moment. That Marmoush is a player that is highly sought after. Liverpool, Arsenal, and as Mark is saying, they're now Manchester City interested as well. I'm going to say something I never thought I'd say. I think Arsenal and Liverpool got more chance of signing Marmoush than Man City. Did you ever think I would say that? And the reason is they've got Haaland and they've got three left wingers in Jack Grealish, Jeremy Doku, and Mateo Nunes. And as much as I don't think all three of them are fantastic, he might look at that move and think, with Savio on top of that, Bernardo Silva's still there, and Foden's still there, am I guaranteed first team football? I don't know that I am. And under Pep Guardiola, you never really are, to be fair, unless your name's KDB or Haaland at their best. When I look at Arsenal, he's guaranteed to start, if I'm honest with you. He's definitely starting ahead of Martinelli and Trossard at the moment because they're not really been killing it. And I think he's definitely starting over Kai Havertz or Jesus because if he's a big money signing, he's not going to come and sit on the bench. So Marmoush is the first name that we, of course, are speaking about and that we are linked with. Big up to all of you. There's 400, well over 400 of you watching at the moment. Please do me a favor, hit the like button, people. We haven't even got to 100 likes yet. So let's get the likes up and then we can go on to our next story before this super chat comes in from Netweed. Big up to you. He says, please don't give the Spanish actor a single penny more. Netweed is someone who does not rate Mikel Arteta and he absolutely makes no qualms about it. And do you know what? I love him for that because he says it how it is. He believes that is his genuine opinion, and that's what we welcome on this show. And I would like to say that actually on that point, that we do welcome any opinions on here. Whether your name is Igal and you absolutely love the process and think Igal Arteta is the best, whether you are Northside or Lee, who have a completely different opinion, whether you're Turkish, Curtis, myself, Lee Judges, who have more of a kind of in the middle balanced opinion, or whether you're Kenny Ken, who just says it how it is, you are all welcome on here and we welcome all opinions. So big up to all of you. Let's take a look next at the next rumour, shall we? Because Marmoush is the first rumour and there is more. Marcus Rashford. My goodness. Apparently, can't believe we're saying this, but Arsenal have considered a move for Marcus Rashford, if you believe the rumours. But apparently we are unwilling to pay more than 25 million for the 27-year-old. Now, I am so glad that we are unwilling to pay 25 million because, trust me, that is not going to get Marcus Rashford. Manchester United know they can get more. I don't know how much more, but they know they can get more. So if Arsenal are only willing to pay that, it means he's not coming to Arsenal. Whew! I do not want Marcus Rashford anywhere near this club. I tell you, if we're going to get a left winger, I'd have Cunha over him, I'd have Marmoush over him, I'd have Lookman over him, I'd have Buemu over him, I'd have Semenyo over him, I'd have, who else is there? Mitoma over him, I'd have Gordon over him. Shout me another load of left wingers, people, because I'm taking him over him. There's no way I am taking this guy. This guy, for me, is one of the most overrated and has one of the worst mentalities in the game. He is not someone that I would want anywhere near Arsenal. And I know there's a lot of people that have debate about this. There's actual genuine Arsenal fans that say that they believe Mikel Arteta to get the best out of him. So why do they believe that? I would love to know that. Yeah, I would love to know why they believe Mikel Arteta can get the best out of Marcus Rashford. What they've seen from Mikel Arteta and Marcus Rashford to believe that is a partnership made in heaven. I do not understand how you can say that's a match made in heaven when he hasn't really improved any of our attack in the last 5 years. Let's just be brutally honest about this. Other than Bukayo Saka, how many players has Mikel Arteta genuinely improved? Out of these following list, tell me how many. Sterling, Willian, Martinelli, Trossard, Erdegaard, Saka, Jesus, Havertz, Pepe, Nelson, Smith Rowe, Lacazette, or Aubameyang. Is there any of them that you look at now and think, I tell you what, they got Mikel Arteta to thank for their career? Now, I know it's a little bit young maybe for Bukayo Saka at the moment, only being 23, but the players I've just listed off there, most of them ended up having to go because they weren't good enough. Most of them had to go because Mikel Arteta had no future with them. And the ones that are still here, Mikel Arteta hasn't actually taken to a new level, in my opinion. Eddie Nketiah is another one. Yeah. So let's just be real. I do not want any more players that are rubbish for their clubs that we believe we can save, that we believe we can absolutely go home and get. It is crazy. Just on that rumour, Manchester City are apparently eyeing a double raid for Marmoush and Edison. This is the reports from Sun Martin B. I don't know. Very reliable City source, apparently. Marmoush and Edison. Well, Edison we know a lot about because he's a holding midfielder from Atalanta, who a lot of people were interested in. Liverpool, I believe, were looking at him as being the number 6 that they wanted. And I do think that Marmoush is clearly a player that is sought after, well sought after. And I think his form at the moment is absolutely flying. So fair play. This one comes in from Uber7 who says, as a Liverpool fan, I love African wingers. The minus is they leave for 1 month during the AFCON mid-season often. Marmoush is a baller, by the way, lightning fast. Yeah, I hear about his pace. I hear about his finishing. I hear about his creativity. So it is a player that I look at and think, wow, this could be something that I could get behind. So we'll see. We will see. But Marcus Rashford, no thank you. No thank you. No thank you. No thank you. Let's talk about this because there is reports from TalkSport that Arsenal are considering a January move to sign Evan Ferguson from Brighton. There was also some rumours suggesting that Brighton would be willing to loan him out. I'm not excited by this one, people. Let me know in the chat if you are, because this one to me just looks as if we're getting somebody who can't get into the Brighton first team ahead of Danny Welbeck and João Pedro. Two players I respect, two players I actually do rate, always have rated Welbs, and I always have rated what I've seen, or the little of what I've seen, of João Pedro. Evan Ferguson was supposed to be this absolute next Harry Kane level striker at 18. He's now only 19, I think, maybe 20. And I just haven't seen it. I just haven't seen him been able to get into the Brighton side and have a long, consistent form. I don't think that is what we need right now. And if I'm honest with you, I look at him coming in, he's just going to be a backup striker. He's not going to get ahead of Havertz or Jesus. So what are we doing here? We need somebody to upgrade on what we've got, not just add more cover. Like, this is the thing. We actually need players that are going to come in and go, wow, they're ready for the first team. And I just don't think that Evan Ferguson is. Look, he was really exceptional when he came on the scene, and I thought this player's got something about him. Went on a bit of a run of games where he was scoring goals. He had a situation where he was one of the youngest strikers to score a hat-trick at St James Park, which of course is something that we look at genuinely as a really impressive thing to do. But let's be real, that is not something that I want to be seeing Arsenal being linked with. And I think this is potentially harsh. Excuse me. I think it is potentially harsh for me to say that we don't want him because he's a good player. But I don't want him going for a title race. Perhaps if we were trying to get into the top 4 or top 6, we'd look at somebody to strengthen. I think he could come in and do a job. But I just don't think he's it. I don't think he's it. And, you know, a lot of people were saying they've got an £80 million 18-year-old here and he's going to be top level for club and country, which is obviously Irish, I believe he is. So, look, I'm sure he's going to be a good player. I'm sure he'll go on to do very good things. But he ain't for me. Let me tell you that. And if we ended up with Evan Ferguson as our January transfer window, I wouldn't be very happy, people. I would not be very happy. And I don't think that's me being harsh. Let's get the likes up, people. We've only got 113 likes. So let's get that up to 250. There's 555, all the fives of you in here at the moment. So please make sure that you do hit the like button and subscribe. It's only 2 buttons. It's free. And it does mean a hell of a lot to me. So please make sure that if you do like my content, that you hit the like button to prove that you do. And it's very good for the algorithm and it grows the channel. So please make sure you hit the like button, people. Okay. Away from Evan Ferguson, let's move to another rumour. It is, of course, Nico Williams. Now, a few hours ago, transfers.com is suggesting that Arsenal are ready to trigger Nico Williams' release clause in a blockbuster January deal. Now, there's a lot of people suggesting that this could happen. Now, I don't actually believe it will. And I've got to be realistic and honest with you. From what I hear and what I see from Nico Williams are very different things. So, look, I liked what I saw in the Euros. I thought he lit the Euros up. I thought he was outstanding. I thought that Spain side was outstanding. And if you want a winger, a proper left winger, and somebody who can play on the right, then Nico Williams is that guy. He's £49 million of a release clause. But I honestly don't think he's got his heart set on England. There's a lot of suggestions and rumours that he wants to stay in Spain and actually stay at Athletic Bilbao for now. There's no rumours or suggestions anymore that he wants to go to Barcelona or he wants to go to Real Madrid. He's just happy in Spain. And I think that's the same goes for Zubamendi over at Real Sociedad, who people are saying that we absolutely should try and get. Well, for me, I think we need to look at the attack before we look at midfield. I think we need both, don't get me wrong. But we definitely need an attacker in January to come in now that Saka's out. Nico Williams, I think, would fit the bill. And I like him. But he hasn't had the best of starts this season. I think he's got a couple of goals. Martinelli's doubled him in his numbers and stats. And apparently everyone says he's rubbish. So I don't think Nico Williams is going to take us to that next level, in my opinion. And this is what I keep saying about Arsenal fans. You say we just need someone. There is a level of priority for me. Let's just take the striker option, for example. Before we are linked with the players like Marmoush and Jonathan David and Vlahovic, I want to be trying to get Gyökeres or Isak first. Yeah, that's what I want to try and be doing. I'm happy to go for these players afterwards. If we're looking at a left winger right now, I want to go for Kvaratskhelia. If we can't get him, then maybe you do go to your Lookmans and your Marmoush. and then look potentially at Williams or Cunha or somebody like that. There needs to be an order. There needs to be like, this is our plan A striker, this is our plan B, and this is our plan C. Now let's move to the left. This is our first choice target. Then we go to our second choice target and our third choice. And I kind of feel like we haven't done that at times. And I'm not too sure how it's working at the moment because there's no Edu now. So Jason Atu has taken over from Edu in the interim role until we find a technical director or sporting director. So it means that Richard Garlick, Jason Ato, and Mikel Arteta are pretty much going to be working very, very closely. Now, Josh Kroenke, I imagine, will be working closely with him in terms of the funds that he's potentially going to be providing, because there are rumours suggesting that Josh Kroenke is happy to provide funds for Mikel Arteta this January transfer window, because we can see that we're in a little bit of a pickle and that we're going to need it. There's 600 people in here, people. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe on your way in. Big up to every single one of you that's done that already. And for those that haven't, you're lazy. 2 buttons. It's free. Big up to you. If you like what I do, hit like and subscribe because it does mean a hell of a lot to the channel. So please make sure we do that, people. If you want any supers coming in, if you've got any questions, then please do throw them in. Just like Suj has. Big up to Suj. He says, big up Dan in the community. Left field shout. But Guirassy, 18 games in the Bundesliga and Champions League, 12 goals, 3 assists, a 15 million clause. Zubamendi also has a 52 million release clause that could be activated. Now, it's fine having release clauses, but the player's got to have to want to leave. And I don't believe Zubamendi yet wants to go from Real Sociedad, or certainly doesn't want to leave Spain. Nico Williams, as I was just saying on this rumour, I think is very similar, if I'm honest with you. Sports Genius says, Dan, I want Mpenda. I think Mpenda's his goals are better than Sesko's, but I think we're linked with Sesko. I think that's the one we want in the summer. And I keep saying this. I believe he will be an Arsenal player in the summer. Sesko. I don't want him, but apparently that's who we're linked with. Kubo is rumoured too. Real Sociedad left winger. Japanese international, not someone I know a lot about. He's got 3 goals this season. I think previously he's got 4 or 5 goals. He's not someone who scores a lot. He's only 23 years old, I believe. So he's obviously got some ability and some potential for a high ceiling, but I don't know enough about him. I really don't. And he's not exactly killing it from what I can see the numbers-wise for Sociedad. So I think we can do better than him. I have to be realistic. As for Nico Williams, I just don't see this happening unless until the summer, if I'm honest with you. The reason I like this rumour is because it's a release clause. So people say there's nobody available in January. It's absolute nonsense. There's a release clause for Zubamendi. There's a release clause for Gyökeres. There's a release clause for Osimhen. There's a release clause for Nico Williams. And the players that we are linked with playing for Bournemouth, Brighton, Brentford, Wolves, let's just be real. They are all available. So let's stop mucking around and pretending like we can't get anybody. It's just mad when people say that. I just really do not understand it, if I'm honest with you. So look, that's who we're linked with. Nico Williams. I don't know that a lot of people are excited by that, but let me wind you back to the summer when people were. That's how quickly football can change. And let me remind you all that Victor Osimhen was 120 million 2 seasons ago, and every Arsenal fan wanted him on the planet. Now he's halved in price and nobody seems interested. That's how quickly it can change, people. That's how quickly football can change. Let's take a look at the bit of news that we really don't want to be hearing. This was announced on Transfer News Live 3 hours ago from Spanish reports. Apparently, Florentino Perez has reportedly made Arsenal's William Saliba his dream signing for Real Madrid. And this is interesting, in the near future. It does not mean January. It doesn't even mean this summer. But near future means I think he's got 2 years left at Arsenal. And if we do not start to win trophies, he's going to get itchy feet. And let's just be real. Real Madrid is a different knock. We're seeing what's happening at the moment with Trent Alexander-Arnold. They're all over him. Alphonso Davies as well, being wanted by Real Madrid. Imagine those 2 fullbacks coming into the club. And Gabriel and Saliba were both actually linked. Only a couple of days ago, I think it was Gabriel that was being looked at as the partnership with Saliba because he's their dream. That was one they were looking at. And then, of course, they were linked with other names as well. So Real Madrid are basically looking at their back 4. They've got Courtois in goal. They want the back 4 of Trent, Alphonso Davies, Saliba, and potentially one more. And then they've got their midfield, which is obviously superb at the moment. And now their front 3, including Kylian Mbappe and Vinny Jr. So Real Madrid are trying to build a new Galacticos, like they always do. Right. And unfortunately, because Arsenal are in a position at the moment where the biggest compliment you can give them is that we are at the top level, we have got one of the best centre backs in the world. And I think William Saliba is who they want. Someone was saying actually yesterday that imagine if Real Madrid just went up to Liverpool and said, it's January, Van Dijk, and Trent. We want you now. If you don't come now, here's an agreement to come to us in the summer. Be amazed if they just went out to all three: Salah, Van Dijk, Trent, and offered them all a deal. Could you imagine? And then said to Saliba, we want them as well. And they get Trent, Van Dijk, Saliba, Alphonso Davies, Salah, Mbappe, Vinny Jr. Wow. With Bellingham and Camavinga and Valverde in the middle. Wow. I think they win everything, to be fair. If we were serious about selling Saliba, which I don't believe we will be, how much would he cost? I mean, we've got to be talking like 120 million starting fee, right? If Van Dijk was 75 million 6-7 years ago, longer than that, 8 years ago now, then how much is Saliba? He's got to be over 100 million. We can't be saying that he's 75 million or whatever it is now. He has to be worth that much money. He has to be. He absolutely has to be. This comes in from Jimbo Jumbo. Love that name. His rankings personally is Isak first, Sesko, Gyökeres, Marmoush, and Osimhen. Do you know what's mad? I'd take any of them at the moment. That's how desperate we are for a striker or an attacker. I'd take any of those at the moment. It really is crazy. But no, I don't think that we're going to get... I don't actually think we're going to get any of those names other than potentially Marmoush. We're not going to get Gyökeres because there's no links. We're not going to get Sesko this January. We're not going to get Isak this January. And probably not at all. Marmoush is the only one, I think, or Victor Osimhen. I think they're the only two that we could realistically get. And do you know what? I'd actually get both. Why not? Why not get both? They're going to cost 120 million, let's say, but let's go and do it. 120 million in January. Boom. Happy. So that's the Arsenal news as things stand. Where are we here? There is the goals here. This was what I wanted to share because this is quite interesting. Bukayo Saka. Sammy Mokbel has said that Arsenal are hopeful of having Saka back training by the final week of February. This is with a view to having him available to play in March, though the decision to undergo surgery following consultation with a specialist may extend his layoff into April. That, for me, is trying to be positive about some bad news. That's what it is. We could see him in February. We could see him in April. Do you know what? I think we just see him around March, April time now. And I kind of have written off his season because he's not going to come back the same player this year. He mightn't even come back the same player. Let's hope he does. Let's touch wood that he hope he does, right? But I do believe that Saka's long layoff here. I think when he says that February, he's trying to make that, because that's only 4 weeks away, yeah, when you think about it. Or it's not. It's probably more than that. It's probably 6-7 weeks away. He's going to be more than 6-7 weeks out. Like 6-7 weeks is just to recover from his operation, surely, before he starts running, walking even, like properly, without pain. Come on, this is going to be a long, extended layoff. I think we just got to be realistic about it and just be like opportunists to say that, let's just be realistic and say that we're probably not going to have him for a while and let's not rush him back. And can see in the chat everyone's saying, don't rush him back. Please don't rush him back. Please don't rush him back. I totally agree. Big up to Chris Red Smoke. I hope you're well, my bro. He says, big up, Dan. We need a winger that is on or close to Saka's level. Burnt level, Eve. Burnt Saka out. I'm fed up with the sympathy signings. Do you know what? Big up to you, bro, because I'm totally with you about this sympathy signings rubbish. When I go up to a club and say, who do you not like? And they give me a list of players and we go, right, let's try and turn these around. That's not how you win a title. The only time it's ever worked at Arsenal Football Club, in my honest, humble opinion, was when we signed Sol Campbell from Spurs. And that was totally different because they wanted him to stay. But it was a free transfer. Now, we've gone up and we've bought players from clubs below us before. We've gone up to clubs and we've got their top players. Like we signed Mesut Ozil, we signed Alexis Sanchez, and we've signed other players that I look at and think, yeah, fair play. Aubameyang was top quality, and some of the others, Declan Rice. But if I look at some of our best, Thierry Henry from Juventus, you know, Patrick Vieira, youngster from AC Milan, Fabregas, youngster from Barcelona, Robert Pires, an experienced head that come from Marseille. When you look at Sol Campbell, who I've mentioned, you also look at some of the players that George Graham got. David Seaman from QPR, Lee Dixon and Steve Bold from Stoke, Nigel Winterburn from Wimbledon. Tony Adams come through the system. We've obviously had some quality come through our system as well. But when I look at our best players, Freddie Lundberg, another one from Elfsborg in Sweden, we got him from. So let's just be real about it. Yeah. I do not believe that we have to go and buy Real Madrid centre forward. Yeah. Some of the best have come from some crazy clubs that you wouldn't even be looking at. Now, I'm not saying we go and get Stoke City's right back before you start getting too excited, people. But I want to actually go and see players that we've scouted. What happened to our scout system? What has happened to it? Because look at Brighton. Look at Brighton. They had Bissouma, they had Caicedo, now they've got Baleba. They've managed to replace every single time that they have lost someone in that midfield. Arsenal are still trying to replace Granit Xhaka, mate. Aren't they? Let's just be real. Because Marino can't do the Xhaka role. Fabio Vieira couldn't. Neither could Smith Rowe. Neither can Trossard. Neither can Havertz. And I'm going to say I love Declan Rice, but he can't do the Xhaka role. Like, where is the next Granit Xhaka? I'm not even talking about being the next Patrick Vieira. Like, where's our next upgrade on Granit Xhaka? So there needs to be better scouting systems at Arsenal, in my opinion. We need to be looking better to say who is the next one out there. And you look at what Brighton are doing under Tony Bloom, it's just phenomenal. It really is absolutely phenomenal. Let's have a bit of a laugh. Well, not have a laugh. Let's actually be serious, to be fair, and get you guys involved, interacting in the chat. Big up to every single one of you. Make sure you hit the like button. There's over 200 who've done so. That's nowhere near enough. There's 800 in here. So please, let's get this up to 450 now, the likes. All you got to do is hit the like button and subscribe. And then we get up to 30K and we're happy. Put in the chat, you can have one player that you want Arsenal to realistically sign. Let's go through it. You got one player, throw it in the chat. Who do you want? Who do you want Arsenal to realistically sign? Don't throw in Kylian Mbappe, or don't throw in Haaland, or don't throw in, Kvaratskhelia or Isak or some one of those. It's not going to happen, Isak, unfortunately. A lot of people are putting Isak in. I knew they would. Who do you think realistically is the guy that Arsenal should get? Let's get through some of these. Go Power Ranger. I used to love the Power Rangers when I was younger. Can Marmoush play multiple positions? Yeah, left, wide, forward, and central. Gyökeres is being spoken about. Isak's being spoken about. Nico Williams spoken about. Another one for Gyökeres, Isak, and Gyökeres and Isak. We have got Arda Güler. That's a really interesting one as well. Real Madrid potentially looking to keep hold of him, but we are being linked with a loan move for him and Brahim Diaz as well that I did see. Kvaratskhelia is a fantastic shout. It's one that I absolutely love, but I cannot see that happening. We've got Isak mentioned. We've got Kudus, who's another one mentioned that I must say I would love, but I do think that's a Southern move because £85 million release clause is not activatable. Is that a word? We can't activate it, should I say, until the summer. So I think that that's probably going to be a summer move, if at all. Marmoush is a great one. Ivan Toney being mentioned. I think he's happy on his mad wages in Saudi Arabia. We've got Adingra, who's being spoken about. Look, I'm a huge, huge fan of Adingra. I like what I see, but he's not playing as much for Brighton at the moment. Maybe that's a reason why Arsenal be interested. So we'll see what happens there. This is a question from John, who says, would you consider selling Saliba if Madrid would put Rodrigo and someone else in the deal? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't want Rodrigo for Saliba. It depends who the other person is. If they're going to give us Vinny Jr., then we can talk. But otherwise, no. I don't think that's going to happen, if I'm honest with you. Marmoush spoken about again. Kudus spoken about. Isak. Rodrigo, funny enough, being mentioned. Victor Gyökeres. Dani Olmo. Now, it looks as if they are trying to keep hold of Dani Olmo, and he is going to try and stay at Barcelona. They're going to try and register him somehow, somewhere. I don't know the news or update on that, but it looks as if there's pretty much imminently news that he's going to be staying. Cunha, that's a really interesting shout. But the reason I say this, I think this is going to be tough to get him, I think it's going to be tough to get him. The reason I say that is because Wolves are in a relegation scrap. They're not going to want to sell their quite clear best player. They're just not. So I think that Cunha is a player that can actually be quite difficult for Arsenal to get. That's what I will say. So, yeah, interesting what you think about that. Kvaratskhelia, Kudus again, Marmoush again, Bakayoko. But tell me more about this Bakayoko, people. Does anyone know much about him? Is it this PSV lad, this winger? Is that who we're talking about? Because a lot of people are saying that he's a really good player and he was against us and he played really well, I remember, but I'm not seeing any consistent level of form from him. So please do shout me if you do think that would be a good signing. Arda Güler, Isak, what other names have we not hit so far? Is there anyone on there that's mad? Cunha and Olmo, that would be pretty good. Big up to you, Luca. I hope you're well, mate. Gyökeres, people are saying. Marmoush, Isak, Brahim. Semenyo is another one. Look, I think that's quite realistic. Whether or not you think he's good enough, I think he's been brilliant for Bournemouth. Lookman, I think that's a realistic move as well. I think that's a really good shout. personally. Brian Buemo, who I think again is going to be a fantastic shout or opportunity. We have Isak from Chris Red Smoke. Big up to you, mate. He's the number one for me. Absolutely number one, but I just don't see that happening in January. Jonathan David is spoken about. Now, that's a really interesting shout. He's a free transfer in the summer, so they're probably looking to get some form of money, Lille, if I'm honest with you. And I think that could be quite an interesting signing. However, I think he's probably going to be looked at by Newcastle or West Ham or one of those type of clubs, in my opinion. And I don't want to disrespect those clubs because he'd be fantastic signing for those. But I just don't know that he's good enough to get Arsenal across the line. That's all I would say. But at 24 years old, he's actually got a hell of a lot of a ceiling as well. Vlahovic being mentioned. Vlahovic is viable. You know, Mikel Arteta has always liked Dusan Vlahovic, if you believe the rumours to be true. Rafael Leao is one that people are talking about, and I think that that's a player who has always been quite interesting to watch. However, I don't think he's actually been killing it over AC Milan, if I'm honest with you. But this player has, as Lucas said, big up to you, Luca Rafinha. That is a great shout. He has been absolutely killing it for Barcelona. He's been phenomenal. Xavi Simons, a player I do rate and like, is someone that I think would be a good option. Alex Baena, I think, would be brilliant over at Villarreal. He's been a fantastic player over in La Liga. Who else is there? Leroy Sane being mentioned. Not for me. Adeyemi, not for me. Rafael Leao again. Any other names that we could have? Tammy Abraham, maybe a few years ago. Nabry, again, maybe a few years ago. There's still players coming in. Morgan Rogers. Do you know what? I'd love Morgan Rogers. I think he'd be perfect for what we need in that number 8. I think he'd be able to drive us forward, and I think he'd be phenomenal. With Rice, Morgan Rogers, and Odegaard, I think that'd be a fantastic midfield. I really do. Bruno G, great shout. He'd probably be my number 1 as midfielders go. He's one that I think he's got the most duels won in midfield. He's been absolutely fantastic in terms of his interceptions. I think he's a great passer of the ball. So, yeah, great shout. Florian Wirtz, another good shout, but I just don't see that happening in January. That could be a summer move, so we have to see what happens there. Very interesting, though. Very interesting names that you guys are, of course, shouting out. Let's quickly touch on what I think we need still in this team, because it's fair enough shouting names and who we think we're going to sign. I'm not going to say that we're going to get all of these positions in the next window or maybe even the next 2 windows, but I actually think Arsenal are in more need of further positions than people think. There's a lot of people saying that we just need a wide forward and a striker and then we're done. I actually disagree. I think we're in a position at the moment where the goalkeeper is being looked at yet again, because there's a lot of rumours that Neto's loan is going to potentially be cancelled so that we can get another goalkeeper in and allow us to loan somebody else. So the goalkeeper situation is going to be looked at in the summer again. I think we're going to look at the defence. There's potential for Kieran Tierney to leave. There's potential for Kivior to leave this summer, January transfer window as well. And Tomiyasu is just not fit enough to be relied upon. So that means we might need to be looking at defensive cover again in the summer. Then we look at the midfield situation with Thomas Partey and Jorginho running down their contracts. There's strong rumours suggesting that both of them might actually stay at Arsenal. Now, what does that mean? Does it mean we don't buy any more in midfield? Or does it mean that we get somebody else on top of Jorginho, Partey and Rice and Marino, Waneri and Odegaard? Do we get another person in there? I think we need one, but what does it mean for the futures of those midfielders? And then, of course, we talk about the backup to Saka, which can't be Raheem Sterling. And we have to look at the left side of our forward line as well as our number 9. So we're actually looking there at potentially 3 attackers, a midfielder, a defender, and a goalkeeper. That's 6 players. 6 players. Is it that extreme? Let's get you guys involved. How many players do Arsenal need to sign across the next 2 transfer windows, in your honest opinion? Let me know. Is it 2? Is it 6? Is it 8? Is it 3? Let me know. Just put the numbers, because I'm really interested to get an understanding of how many people believe we actually do still need quite a few players here. And we're 5 years in, by the way. We've got 5, we've got 7, we've got 4 to 6, we've got 6, 5 to 6 players, 4, 6, a minimum of 3, 5 to 6. Wow. 6 to sell, 5 to bring in, 7, 4 to 6, 7, 5, 9. Crikey. 5, 3. There we go. Point proven, people. The point being, we've had 5 years of this process and nearly 700 to 800 million pounds has been spent on this squad, and we still say that we need at least 5 to 6 players at the bare minimum on average there. That's absolutely mad. So, look, I think you're right. At the moment, we've got cover in every single position. But is it adequate cover in every single position? I don't think it is. If we were to lose Saliba, Erdegaard, Saka, I think them 3 positions need to be looked at right now. I think we need to potentially look at first teamers for the left 8 position and the central striker. Some are saying left back. I'm not quite sure about Calafiori's future at left back, but some are saying we need a left back, a left winger, a left 8, and a number 9. So that's pretty much the whole of our left side. So there is complete and utter difference of opinions on this. I think those that are fairly optimistic and positive think with everybody back, we just need a striker and a left winger. I think we definitely need a left 8 on top of both those positions. So that's 3 positions. And I think it is questionable at left back because I think that's the moment, the one that I find more suitable there and looks more comfortable there is Miles Lewis-Skelly at 17 years old. So look, there's definitely the argument to be had that we need more than 2 players. That's my point. So across the next two windows, I expect to see more than 2 players. In January, I think one player comes in. That's what I think. Oh, excuse me, nearly that drink. That's what I think. So it's crazy, really, to think of it like that. Unfortunately, we still need quite a lot to do, if I'm honest with you. We do. So I think it could be quite interesting. Let's take a look at some of the news which has currently been breaking in the last few minutes. Nothing too major from what I can see, but let's go through it before we do come to a close. Any of this links to Arsenal? Well, maybe not, but let's just go through the last 20 minutes or so about what is breaking at the moment with you guys. So apparently, according to reports in Spain, Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid are set to compete for the signings of Zeno de Bast and Diamande from Sporting Lisbon. Now, I'm a huge fan of Ousmane Diamande. However, God, he was awful against us. He had an absolute shocker. I'm going to put that down to how great Arsenal were because I'm a big fan. I know he's only 19 or 20, so he's got a long to learn, but I think he is an absolute beast of a defender who I think has got a future, and it looks as if Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid agree with that. I will say this, when Real Madrid are interested and Atletico Madrid and Simeone are interested, you're definitely a decent defender. So watch what happens with Diamande. Mourinho wants to be reunited with Son for Fenerbahce. That could be an interesting one. I do think that he'll end up leaving Spurs. I'm not quite sure where he'll go. Barcelona have offered Frankie de Jong a new contract with a substantial wage cut in a bid to help their financial situation. I've always been a fan of Frankie de Jong. I think he's a brilliant ball carrier. But every time I mention his name to someone, they just wince and they're like, oh, I don't want him. I don't quite know what it is, if I'm honest, about him. I actually quite like him, but there's quite a lot of people that don't rate him. So let me know what you think of De Jong in the chat. Obviously, an hour ago, Arsenal are said to be considering a January move to sign Evan Ferguson from Brighton. We mentioned that one. Not for me. City are interested in securing the signing of Kuzanov from Lens in January. The 20-year-old is valued at around 12 million euros. Where does he play, people? Is he a striker? Is he a winger? Let me know. I don't know enough about him. I don't watch Lens. So I wouldn't have a clue. No, we don't need him. And mid is to answer De Jong's question. He's a centre-back from Lens, apparently. Man City looking at another centre-back. Oh, my God, really? Wow. This comes from Flamengo, who have rejected a 15 million bid from Aston Villa for Wesley. Chelsea, we willing to offload Disasi in January. Ha! Good luck with that. Nobody wants him. He's horrendous. Liverpool have joined Manchester United and Man City in the pursuit of the Girona left-back Miguel Gutierrez, who I believe is highly rated. Man City will probably end up getting him because he is the feeder parent club, is it, of Girona. Diego Leon's agent has confirmed that the player will travel to Manchester in the next few days to undergo his Manchester United medical. Does anyone know anything about this guy? Diego Leon's? Anybody know who this guy is? Is he a centre-half? Is he a fullback or wing-back? I imagine Manchester United will want some wing-backs because that is Ruben Amorim's style. So let's see what happens. Big up to Martin in the chat. Big up to you, my bro. Stop nicking our targets, Dan. City is in for Marmoush, Edison, and that Lons guy, or Mark Gehi. Here we go. Manchester City wanting more. Well, don't they need fullbacks, Martin, not centre-backs? Or have you got all yours injured? Is that why you're going for centre-backs again? Let's look at these targets. Marmoush, yes, we are linked with Marmoush as well. Edison, we're not linked with. I know that you are. I actually do rate him, by the way. I think he's a good player. And the Lons guy, who we've just spoken about, or Gearhey. Oh, do you know Mark Gearhey? I've been a big fan of, I was a fan of Mark Gearhey before he got that called up to England and was phenomenal in the Euros. I thought he was England's best player. He'd be a fantastic signing for Liverpool, Newcastle, or City. He really would. I'll say that now. Big up to you, though, bro. Make sure you're all following the Mancunian way. Make sure you're going and showing Martin some love. As a City fan, he's one of the best, man, along with LB. I've got to big him up. Here we go from 90-minute football. It says, to be honest, the Arteta signing first was top 4 level, and now we need top level players, and it's hard to find because we are cheap. Do you know what? You make a good point, to be fair. And I try to be realistic if I can. We are looking at top level players now. And I did say this, any player that Arsenal want now is going to be 100 million. We want Isak, he's going to be over 100 million. We want Kvaratskhelia, he's going to be over 100 million. We want Florian Wirtz or Musiala, yeah, he's going to be over 100 million. That's the level that Arsenal have got to try to attract. But it's hard because Man City are going for him. Real Madrid are going for him. Liverpool want him. And at the moment, if you want to win silverware, they ain't going to come to Arsenal because they're guaranteed trophies over at Real Madrid. At the moment, Liverpool, and let's just say it how it is, probably Manchester City, even the way they're playing. I'd still probably put money on to win something this year because Pep will get it right. He will get it together. He's not a fool. Martin says we have more injuries than Holby City. Nice one, bro. It's bad times for City, man. I've been watching you this season and it ain't pretty, bro. It ain't pretty. So big up to you. But I can't say I feel sorry for you because you have had it pretty easy for the last few years as a City fan. Flamingo are having to pay 7 million to sign Firmino. Wow, how old is he now? That's unbelievable. And this was incoming. So it was interesting. This was a football tweet. It says, yes or no, do Arsenal have what it takes to win the Premier League title? I don't think we have. I don't think we've got enough. But the European lad said there's no way Arsenal can win the league. Every Premier League title winning team needs at least 3 or 4 world-class players to carry them through difficult games. Arsenal doesn't have that. Let's stop there. Let's be real. Let's just be real for a minute. Do Arsenal have any world-class players? I think we've got potential one day to have world-class players. I think the one player that's closest to being world-class is Saliba. Now, I always have the same conversation about what is the definition of world-class. Nobody can tell me, by the way. Everybody has a different opinion of what world-class is. It's either the best in your position, would walk into a world 11, would make any team better, would get into the top 3 in their position, would get into the top 5 of their position. I think it's all waffle, if I'm honest with you. Would Saliba walk into any team in the world right now? I think the answer is yes. So therefore, I would suggest that he probably is the closest we've got. Saka, I think one day could be. I think there's definitely right wingers at the moment. Lamine Yamal, Salah. I think there's probably another couple that are on par with him. So maybe he's not quite one that would walk into every single team. Erdegaard, I don't think would walk into every single team and make them better. And I don't think Declan Rice would either. Other than that, I'm struggling to look at who we've actually got. Now, Martin said that he believes Saliba and Gabriel are world-class, and I think the partnership's a stunning partnership, and I think from set pieces, we are looking very, very good. I'm glad you've mentioned Gabriel, because I think he gets such a hard time comparison to Saliba, which is obviously a compliment to Saliba, but they really do complement each other. But other than that, I think we've got a problem with world-class players. So I think that comment of you need 3 or 4 world-class players to win the Premier League, I don't think he's far wrong, because I don't think that we actually have got world-class players. Let's compare it to when we last won the league. We're trying to go for a league title, so we can do that now. I think a few seasons ago, we weren't able to compare our invincible side to this one. How many of them get into that invincible 11? Because Jens Lehmann's better than Raya. I would argue that Lauren's on par, if not better, than Ben White and Timber. But he did have longer, so I suppose it's harder. One day, maybe Timber could be, because I think he's phenomenal. Left back, Ashley Cole. No one touches him. No one touches Sol Campbell. Maybe Saliba. Maybe Saliba gets in ahead of Kolo Touré. But I think it's close because Kolo was so good. But maybe Saliba is the one. In midfield, Vieira and Gilberto, no one touches them. Partey and Rice, I like them, but they ain't nowhere near as good. Erdegaard's different because we played Bergkamp at the 10, and Bergkamp's better than Erdegaard. Thierry Henry's better than anything we've got up front. I think Robert Pires is better than anything we've got on the left. So it really is Saka or Lundberg. And if I'm honest with you, you've got to pick Freddie because he's just phenomenal, or was phenomenal back then. So maybe you could push Saliba and Saka, maybe. But that's where I'm at, people. Like, we've got a really good side. But that invincible one, some people don't even say it's one of the best. And we can't even get half of our current crop into that. Now, I thought it was phenomenal. I think it's iconic, and I think some people give it a hard time because not losing a game, let's just have it right. I know people say they don't care, but that's an unbelievable thing to do. Absolutely crazy. I just don't think that we're quite there yet still. And that's why I don't put us to win the league. Because people said to me, "Oh, where did you have Arsenal?" And I said, second. "Oh, you didn't think we win the league?" No, I didn't. I didn't think our summer transfer window was anywhere near good enough. So that's what I'm thinking. I agree with this point from Martin as well. You've done to Saka what we did to Rodri, ran him into the ground. Do you know what? It's absolutely mad. There was a stat that I did have. I actually got rid of it. Literally this morning. I should have kept it up for this. He has played the most games and most minutes and most time under Mikel Arteta in the last 5 years, and the kid's 23. It's absolutely criminal what we've done with Bukayo Saka. And people say, "Oh, you can't moan about not taking games seriously and then keep resting Saka." I'm not talking about resting Saka every game. I'm talking about not playing Saka against Bolton in the Carabao Cup and not bringing him on when we're 3-1 up against Preston and not bringing him on when we're 5-0 against Lons and he's still playing on the pitch. Get him off. That's not looking after him. It's absolutely crazy. Let's be real. Manchester City have fallen off and Arsenal aren't there to capitalise. That's embarrassing, people. I'm not saying that Liverpool are shocking and we should be well ahead of them, by the way, because I think they've been phenomenal this season. But we, no way, should be 9 points potentially off of them. We've got to put the pressure on. We've got to go on a run now. And that's what we've got to do at the Brighton game on Saturday. Now, Brighton's going to be an interesting one for me because he is going to have to probably look at that squad and say, right, what do I need to do? Who's fit? Who's back from illness? There's rumours that Havertz will be back. There's rumours that Rice will probably start this one. Timber's suspended, so I have to be Partey at right back. So I imagine the team, Raya will be in goal. I imagine it will be Calafiori who can remains at left back with Gabriel, Saliba, and of course, Partey will have to be at right back, which is a big blow for me. Rice will have to go into the midfield, I think, with Marino and Erdegaard. And I think he'll play Waneri on the right, Martinelli on the left, and I think Jesus starts up top and Havertz is on the bench and he comes on. That's what I think will happen. So that's the way I see it. That's the way I see it. What's Martin saying here? It's silly risks or trusting the four-peat winners. Difficult one. To be honest, in hindsight, it's a bad choice, but didn't lose till November. Injuries killed us. Mus says, Dan, quick question. What will you do if Arsenal win the league at the end of the season? What will I do? Mus, I tell you this now, my bro. The streets are not ready if Arsenal win this title. And I'll tell you this now. The streets aren't ready if we win the Champions League as well. So one of those majors, we're going off. Do you know what? I'll go off if we win in the domestic cups as well because I love a trophy. But one of the majors, yeah, the streets aren't ready. Social media will have an absolute meltdown. All the rival fans will go and have to go into their basement and go and hide him because they'll have to come off of social media because it will be absolutely horrible for rival fans if Arsenal win the league. Trust me, particularly if it's under Mikel Arteta and under a process which ends up with a Premier League trophy or Champions League trophy. That's where I'm at. But listen, we're going to end it there, people. Big up to every single one of you. Absolute love from you all. What have we got? Another couple of super chats. Did I miss? Not 90 minutes. I met one from Netweed. Big up to you, Netweed. I hope you're well, my bro. He says there's only one incoming that we need. Every sensible Arsenal fan knows it. Zinchenko and who? Kivior must be sold now to save any face from last summer. Look, I think Zinchenko is not my favourite player. Defensively, he's woeful. Kivior, not for me. So I can't really say that I disagree, if I'm honest with you. Big up to you. Martin says, big up to you, mate. I'll speak to you on Monday. Yeah, see you on Monday, bro. It will be around about 11:15. We've made that show a little bit earlier now so that Roms can join us. So that one will be on Monday. So big up to you on that. Will be on here at Lee Judges TV. Over 700 of you still watching. Make sure you hit the like button and you've subscribed to Football's 12th Man. All you've got to do is click two buttons that are free, like and subscribe. And make sure that you check out this prize and that you are in it to win it. 99 pence, people. Use the code FTM10 to get 10% off. FTM10. 10% off of just the 99 pence ticket for a raffle ticket, and it is a chance to win a £500 football match day experience of your choice. It is not just the Emirates, but it could be the Emirates, it could be the North London Derby, Manchester City, Man United fans, Liverpool fans, Spurs fans, West Ham fans. Make sure you're in this with a chance to win it, because if you cannot get to games, which a lot of people can't nowadays, then please make sure that you are in with this chance. If you click on the pinned comment section, you'll be able to see how to enter. Go to Reality Raffles. Make sure you give them a follow on Instagram. Reality raffles is what is needed. So please make sure that you are following them. They're absolutely fantastic. They've got unbelievable prizes, actually, not just football prizes that they've got as well. If you're into music or into gigs or anything like that, then please make sure that you are checking it out. And go over to there and get your ticket. So big up to every single one of you for being here. It's been a great show. Really enjoyed speaking to you guys and interacting with you all. Thank you so, so much for all of your interactions, your super chats, your comments, and of course, your likes and subscribes, people. We'll see you next time. Take it easy. I'll be back in the morning at 9 o'clock to go for all the transfer news that's breaking overnight. So we'll see you next time. Take care, people. We're out of here. Peace.